All right, everyone, we have breaking news out of Washington, D.C. A shooter has just opened fire on several National Guardsmen near the White House. This is presumptively politically motivated. It doesn't take a genius to figure out exactly what's happening. Probably some leftoid inspired by AOC or Maxine Waters. There have been many such cases of this, actually, over the last few years. So we're waiting for more details. The shooter has been apprehended, is injured, was carried away on a stretcher. We don't really know anything more about the shooter. If they're wearing an Antifa shirt, I guess we can probably gauge the motive. Depending on what kind of shirt they wear, we may or may not get more or less news coverage of it. If they're wearing a MAGA shirt or something like that, I'm sure they're going to talk a big game about it. If they're wearing the Antifa shirt, it'll probably be a little bit more humdrum. These were, by the way, apparently, this is alleged again. A lot of this is up in air. This is breaking news. Apparently, there were members of the West Virginia National Guard. Some reports coming in saying, of course, a judge had ruled prior, a federal judge, saying, well, deploying the Guard to D.C. may or may not be constitutional. We're not 100% sure. If you look at the decision, by the way, it's just like a hot mess. Again, no case law cited, as usual. We've gotten used to this. It doesn't confuse anyone at this point as to why. It's because there is no case law that can actually cover the decision that's being made. West Virginia Guard members that were deployed there, they have been shot. I believe that they are both in critical condition, but expected to recover. Again, hopes and prayers don't mean much, but give them at least your hopes that they do recover. As far as the shooter, I hope they recover too, because then they can be questioned. That would be very, very helpful. Hey, why did you do this? Who inspired you to do it? Could it be a left-winger? Probably was. Are we going to find out that this person was following like Brian and Ed Krasenstein and stuff on Twitter? It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. This would be normal. This would be par for the course. That's the whole problem. You've got an entire cavalcade of people on the left saying, disobey, do not follow orders, kill, inconvenience them, like literally with Maxine Waters. Her specific quote, if I remember correctly, was don't allow them to go to the gas station, confront them in restaurants and things of that nature. That was basically her quote. Confront them wherever you find them and don't give them a moment's rest. When you tell people that sort of thing, it can cause violence. Because somebody that's already, a little bit on the loopy side, they're a little bit insane, and they have access to a firearm, which they, in many cases, probably shouldn't. They should be in the nut ward. They should be in the mental institute. I love that term. You know this. These people will go haywire because they've been told by someone who they erroneously believe is their superior to go and do violent things. You have never seen this from the right wing. The thing is, people will castigate Trump and say he's trying to take over the country, he's trying to become dictator, and like stuff like that. Meanwhile, the only thing he's ever called for people to do is march peacefully past the Capitol. And supposedly this makes him an insurrectionist. If we were to apply the same litmus test to a hell of a lot of politicians on the left, to a hell of a lot of Democratic politicians, they wouldn't pass the litmus test, not by far. They'd be in jail, basically, by the same conclusions that we drawn from the things that were said by Donald Trump, pre-J6, etc. They would be in prison. They would be locked up without a key, like some people were quite literally for nonviolent crimes like vandalism for several years at a time. Enough is enough. The time has come to fight back. And by fight back, I don't mean in the sense that the left usually uses the term, which is kill people. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's time to hashtag resist. I'm saying it's time to resist the tyranny of the far left that seeks to usurp the lawfully incepted government of the United States the reasoning and the ideology of the average person who voted within the last elections, and so forth. It's time that we start saying, okay, shut up. Go away, shut up, just be silent, go away, backhand them or something like that. This is important, though. This is more than just, this is not a joke. It is a funny story, in the sense that the left, once again, is proving itself to be violent, but it's not going to be funny for the families of the guardsmen. It's not going to be funny for their families when they have to watch their loved one sitting there on the slab, so to speak, bleeding out. They're not going to be laughing. This has happened over and over and over again. Antifa attacks. Left-wing assassins. They tried to kill Trump on 3 different occasions. They killed Charlie Kirk. They've been doing this over and fucking over again. This is no longer humorous. It's funny in the sense that people are so ignorant that they look at these stories and say, oh, but there's also right-wing violence. Yes, I understand. There are right-wingers that encourage violence and things like that. That's not the average. As somebody on the inside looking in, I can say for myself, for example, I've interacted with people on the left. I've interacted with people on the right. I've interacted with people in the center, and I've interacted with people from other countries that don't really give a shit about US politics. There is no more violent, racist, and terrible group than left-wing United States citizens. There is nothing worse in the entire world. The NIMBYist crowd. The get you loaded and all of a sudden you start talking about blackface jokes crowd. The people who, on the surface, they seem very progressive. Yes, indeed. I support solar power. Don't put it in my neighborhood. Yes, indeed. I'm anti-war. But yeah, Russia? Yeah, kill them. And stuff like that. This has happened over and fucking over again, dude. They're constantly taking shots at national. Now they're targeting National Guardsmen from West Virginia, I believe. They're targeting National Guardsmen. They're targeting ICE agents. They're targeting police. They've been targeting random citizens for quite some time. They've been targeting content creators for even longer. They've been trying to silence us over and over again for the last 2 decades. At what point do we say, hey, enough is enough. Hey, shut the fuck up. That's what I would tell them myself. We're not asking for anything that's fanatic. Supposedly we're the extremists. We're Nazis or something like that. I don't even know anymore. We're Nazis, but also we're a little bit of Yugoslavia, a little bit of Mussolini, and a little bit of Stalin. That was the last polemic they had about Donald Trump, for example. Supposedly, we're hateful. We're filled with hate and we want to kill and harm other people. Why is it then that you're the ones always taking the goddamn shot? Why is it that we're trying to vote by ballot box, which we did in the last election, and you're trying to vote via lead? Do you really think that the country is so close to the brink of collapse that you have to shoot a bunch of people? These people, these National Guardsmen, they weren't involved in some vague conspiracy or anything like that. They're just normal people with normal families and shit like that. And you decided to take a shot at them. Maybe you're just crazy. All right, we'll play devil's advocate and just assume that there was some mental illness involved or something like that. Really, though, there are going to be people, and in the next 24 hours, they'll pile on from the left saying, well, this was justified. Here are the top 10 reasons why. We've seen it before. It's fucking sickening, really. It's like, yeah, that kid shot up his school. He killed a bunch of other kids, but really, he was bullied, so it's okay. It's basically the same mentality. And this is why I very rarely actually talk about such stories because honestly, it black pills me a little bit about human nature. And I don't want to be black pilled. I want to be white pilled. I want to white pill other people too. That's about all. Peace out.